It feels so good to be out again. It feels like I haven't been out fishing in ages, and today I am at a brand new venue. I've never been here before, never even seen it, don't really know what's in it, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of feeder fishing. Like I say, today I'm going to be doing a little bit of feeder fishing, and by that I mean method feeder fishing, or just on one of these tiny little Preston feeders. So it's not like a complete method feeder, but it is a ground bait feeder. I've got some Scopex ground bait here, and I'm not going to be fishing far out at all because on the right hand side of my swim there is actually quite a big reed bed, and I've just trickled out a few of the impulse pellets already just to try and get the fish in the area, get them kind of moving about, and there is actually a bit of activity out there already. So what I'm going to do with this is obviously use the ground bait as you normally would, but instead of just mixing it with water, I'm going to use the impulse liquid. Concentration wise, you normally use 30 ml of this per kilo of bait. If I'm mixing up half a kilo of ground bait at a time, then obviously I'm going to use about 15 ml. That won't be enough to give the right consistency, but it's enough to actually get the right consistency of impulse into the swim, and then you top up the ground bait with water just to get it compacted enough when you're actually casting out. So first things first is put in 15 ml of the liquid, so there's about 10 ml in there so far. Squeeze a little bit more. There we go. We've got around 15 ml. Now, with the impulse, you can't really overdose it unless you go way too over the top, because the whole idea of it is it's been created that it gives you the optimum amount of amino acids, and yeah, it's designed to be kind of easy to use. So as you can see, that's still very powdery, even though I've got the impulse in there. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more water into it to get the right consistency, and then I'll show you what I'm doing at the hook bait end as well. So there you go, you can see that's starting to get a better consistency now, where you can really compact it, but it's going to break up nice and easily. So I think that's about ready to go, which is good news. That's the reed bed I was saying about. It follows all the way around this corner of the lake, and there's fish jumping out on the opposite side of the lake. Typical. Right, so this is the setup that I'm using. Like I say, that's a tiny little Preston feeder. I think it's the smallest one they do. It's 15 grams, and then I'm just going to be coating a little bit of the ground bait around that. That comes down to a little size 10 Nash claw hook, and then the hook might look a bit overkill for the hook bait because this is just a little 6 mil pop-up, but that is where the magic comes in, because I'm going to be using this impulse paste. Now, I've got in the sweet cream. I think it's my favourite flavour, but to be honest, every one of the flavours works just as well, because it's more about the stimulant than it is the flavour. Of course, it's going to attract fish, but it's a stimulant within this which actually makes fish feed. So what I'm going to do now is grab a pinch of paste like this, flatten it down, and then I can actually coat this hook bait. So then we've got not only the impulse going into the swim through the ground bait, through the pellet that I scattered out earlier, but we've then got a nice amount of paste for all the fish to start nibbling at. It'll start breaking down slowly, hopefully leading to a fairly quick bite. So let's get the ground bait on here, and then, God, it smells so good. Yeah, that smells amazing, that sweet cream one. So a little bit of ground bait on here, squish that right in. There we go, then we can get the rod out. So like I say, I don't really know this venue at all, to be honest. I don't know the area at all. I'm currently at a lake in Herefordshire, and mainly because I've just relocated here. So I'm just trying to find my feet a little bit, find new venues, and hopefully find venues that are quite prolific as well. Now, the rod's been out about 20 minutes so far, and to be honest, I've had so many knocks on it, but it hasn't actually resulted in anything. And based on all the roach and rudd that I've been seeing in the edge, I think there's probably a lot of silvers, but I'm not really getting any proper bites. That might be because I'm using obviously quite a big hook if it is mainly roach and rudd here, or mainly silvers. But I do think there are some carp in here as well. I've been kind of scanning all the Facebook pages, trying to see what's in here, and it seems that there's quite a few, maybe around double figure carp, which is what I was hoping for, because that on a little feeder rod would be good fun. There has been signs of carp around, there's been a lot of bubbling and things like that, so I'm hoping if I persevere with these sort of methods, and we might see a couple on the bank. But if not, if I keep getting all these little knocks, then I'll probably scale things down a little bit and try and catch some of the silvers, because it does seem like there's plenty in here. I don't know if you can see into the water, but I've just noticed there's so many little roach and rudd where I've been making up the ground bait, and I've just put a tiny bit of ground bait in there, and they are going mental. It's like a feeding frenzy, and all I can think is that that is the impulse that has switched them onto that. That is insane. It's actually been very, very quiet so far this morning. A lot more people have turned up. When I got here there was only a couple, and yeah, most of the lake is actually full now, so it's obviously quite a popular place to come. But yeah, on the fish front it's been very quiet. Now obviously I was fishing the reed bed to my right, and I'm keeping that topped up, but I did see a little bit of movement actually out in front of the swim, just in open water. There was a bit of fizzing, and a little bit further out a carp did show as well. So I've actually moved the rod for the time being into more the middle of the swim. There's a big willow opposite, so I'm kind of in line with that and maybe 25 yards out. The rod has been there for about half hour, nothing's happened, but there has been fizzing around there. I keep sprinkling the pellet out on top of my hook bait, which is out there, just hoping that something might come along. But it's still early, it's about 10:30, so we've got the full day ahead of us. Like I say, I'm going to keep the reed line baited up as well. I was getting loads of knocks down there, but I think it was all silvers. So I'm going to persevere, try and get one of the carp out of here. But if it doesn't happen, then I will switch over to lighter tactics, just to try and get a few bites really. But I think probably the best thing that normally gets a fish feed in is getting the kettle on. So it's time for a coffee. So making a coffee didn't help my cause at all, so it's time for a change of plan, because I'd much rather be sitting here catching something than waiting out for something that might not happen. So like I say, I'm scaling and right down, so gone for a little pre-tied rig. I think it's about a size 14 hook or something. It's a tiny little hook, and then a little 6mm dumbbell at the end. And still going to carry on with the method feeder, but I'd much rather be sitting here catching a few silvers and things like that than not catching at all. And to be honest, I've been watching them and they've been going absolutely mental everywhere. So if I don't catch now, then yeah, I don't know what's going on. But, again, I haven't heard any bite alarm screaming or anything like that, so I don't think people have really been catching many carp. But there's a few guys that are match sort of fishing, and they're definitely catching some fish. So let's give it a go for the afternoon like this. Well, that didn't take long at all, did it? Oh, it's come off, it's come off. Not a carp. That is something. That'll do, isn't it? If we can start having a day catching a few of these. He's not a bad size at all. That'll do, won't it? That'll do. definitely been a challenging day so far. I've been chopping and changing hook baits, and weirdly enough, the hook bait which has been doing most of the bites so far today is one of the 6mm impulse pellets. Now I've had it coated in a little bit of the paste, but yeah, it is the pellet which is doing the job. But I'm determined before I go to get one of these carp, and I'm sure there's a few carp down here. I have been snapped up a couple of times, and these are on £5 hook links. So what I'm going to do is actually completely change this over. I've obviously been building the swim over the course of the day. There's been bait trickling out constantly. There's been the impulse trickling out. So the swim is thriving. As you saw when I put the pellets out, roach were hitting the surface, almost jumping out to actually get on that pellet and get some of that impulse into them. So what I'm going to do, completely change things, go back to carp methods, put on a stronger hook link. I've got a 10 pound main line, so strong enough main line, a little braided hook link, and I've got a couple of hours left to try and catch one of these carp. There we go, super simple tactics when it comes to carp fishing. Literally got a little leg clip there, and then that's down to, I think, the same rig that I actually started the day on. So a little size 10 claw, and then a 15mm Cremino boilie, which is actually then wrapped in the impulse paste. So yeah, fingers crossed this is what is finally going to catch us one of these carp. Well, unfortunately that carp never came, and it kind of felt like it didn't matter what I was doing, I would just not be able to get a bite from a carp. But it was still a good day, still enjoyable getting out, still enjoyable using the impulse products. I still really rate them, and they definitely saved me on what was quite a tough day. There wasn't a lot of people catching many fish at all, so to pick up a few roach and bits and pieces like that, I take it. Sometimes days are like that, they're just hard going, and it doesn't matter what you do, it's just a tough day's fishing. But still enjoyable, and I still can't wait to get back out.